Hey there, happy day 1123. And what you up to now? Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and I had flames all around me, and I was shooting flames up. I thought, oh, it's a bit much for I don't know, what day is it? Wednesday. It's a bit much for the middle of the week, so let's not do that. Here's where I talk about what's going on with me as I transition from the brick and mortar world to the online world. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity as part of my divorce, which is there's always opportunities in divorce and in any situation, to figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. It's kind of too old to want to go back to any of the things I'd done before, but I also was too young to throw in the towel and retire and not do anything. So I hopped into the online world because I'd always been curious about it. I always had been. I'd dabbled in a few things. I was usually so busy offline that I didn't have the time and energy to devote to doing things online. I wasn't taking care of myself physically, much less did I have extra time to do things online. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating right. I just was focusing 100% almost on work and businesses and things that turns out didn't make me happy and didn't support me as a person to survive very well in terms of mental and long-term sustainable growth and things. So that had to do with lots of different areas and aspects of my life, all kind of coming together to say, yeah, you've been ignoring your physical well-being long enough and your emotional and your mental well-being long enough. We're going to shut you down and you're going to start over. And that's basically what happened in 2010. Got a big wake-up call and a big shutdown and had to reset, had to figure it out, I hate the word pivot, but everybody says, oh, we're pivoting due to COVID-19. We're not pivoting. We're just changing because of changing times and environment, which is something we're probably always doing as humans and as business owners and as employees and as people all the time. Things change in our individual lives all the time. COVID just made it so we all got hit upside the head simultaneously and had to make massive changes in our lives. I'm sure there are people that have had to change due to COVID-19 that probably would never have changed things that they were doing and changed anything in their life had it not occurred. So as bad as it's been for a lot of people, it's been good because out of the bad always comes good, positive change for us. It's the change that we need, and we're impacted and we experience it in the way that is absolutely right for us, even though it definitely doesn't feel like it at the time. Whenever we're displaced or upended or forced to change outside of our own desire and timeline, it feels forced, it feels wrong, it feels bad. And part of that is teaching us how to deal with those situations in a way that works for us, that doesn't work against us. So today I want to talk a little bit about emotional soap, because I spent, I don't even know how long, probably 20 minutes or so talking about it a minute ago. And our emotions and some of the things that we let just trip us over that we should or couldn't, or we don't have to, but we do anyway, even though we know better. I forgot what I put on there. Emotional soap. Oh, centering. How do we get more centered, and who helps to center us? Because that has a lot to do with our emotions. And then the devil. Our idiom for Supersize Your Business today was better the devil you know than the one you don't. And here's an expression that's been around since at least the 1300s. It was an Irish proverb and published since the early 1500s by Taverner, Aramis R. Taverner, and in his collection of proverbs. So it's something that's impacted a lot of us, and we falsely convince ourselves, because it is a false belief, that we should stay in it with a person, with a situation, or in a place because we know it and are familiar with it. It's better the devil I know than the one I don't. It's not awesome here. It's difficult and painful here. But what if it's more painful over there? What if it's harder over there? What if I have to change? What if it's more challenging, etc.? But one thing we always find is that it's an absolute lie. The devil we know is better than the one we don't. Unless we turn around and we make the same bad choice that we made that got us in the situation that was difficult and challenging in the first place. Anyone ever done that besides me? Of course we do. Sometimes we go from one situation that's bad to actually a situation that's worse because we didn't learn our lesson in the first situation, or with the first person, or with the first experience, and we need to keep learning the lesson. So that's sometimes things will get worse, but it's only because we're creating that. If we believe that staying married to this person, staying in this business, staying in this job, even though we hate it to our very soul, is the lesser of two evils. We're talking to ourselves. Number one, we're setting a lie up for ourselves. We're believing that there's only two options. It's this or it's going to be worse. That is not true. It's this or it could be so much better. Why do we always think it's this or I have to stay here or it's going to be worse? And I fell prey to that for decades. I was in a situation where it was totally wrong for me, yet every day I spent trying to convince myself that it was okay and I had to do this and I had to stay there. And, my brain would feed me up all kinds of logical reasons why to stay in this situation. Although my heart and my gut were screaming at the top of their lungs, no, move on, get out of this, change this, you can change this. And it took me, a long time to figure it out, because I actually believed it was better the devil I know, the situation, the person, the relationship I knew, than to have to find another one or to be on my own. Now, it turns out being on my own is way, way, way better in that case, within businesses, within personal relationships, within a lot of things. And it didn't kill me. It just made me stronger. So better the devil you know than the one you don't. Big, fat, proverbial lie based on fear and scarcity. And both of those are lies as well, right? Fear is a lie. Scarcity is a lie. Now, I can hear people screaming, fear is not a lie. Fear is there to protect us. Yeah, sometimes it is. It's to protect us from going down that dark alley with no lights in the middle of the night to, I don't know why you'd go down a dark alley in the middle of the night, but you might. And fear is there to tell us, yeah, don't be stupid. Not a good thing to do. In the middle of the inner city. I'm trying to think of a scary dark alley situation. I watched too many scary shows, I guess. So fear is there to show us something, but we're not designed to live in fear and in a constant state of fear. It's actually there to teach us to be fearless and courageous when it's necessary, to take risks, to take that jump, take that leap of faith, to go where our heart and our head tell us we need to go and should be going, instead of what the outside world tries to convince us is best for us. It's like being yourself versus being like everybody else. We all know what feels right for us. Those are the things that we should display and how we should show up in the world. But the whole rest of the world is showing us through different entire industries how we should look, how we should feel about ourselves. And nothing outside of ourselves will ever make us feel complete. We can only find that within ourselves. So emotional and better the devil you know tied really well together for me personally today, as did our centering exercise. The centering exercise for our 365-day challenge to do one thing every day that centers you is, and I call it All About You 365-day challenge. It was all about the people that center you and the different degrees of centering and comfort and joy and your selfness you feel around different people. It started in the center with people that completely center you. Who are people now or in your past that you've been around that completely were your people, your soul mates, not in like the lover type soulmate sense, but in your soulmates in terms of, that they're your people and that they're always there for you and they make you feel it's absolutely positively okay to be yourself. You're crazy, wild, weird, strange, whoever, however you are self, and they'll love you no matter what. I guess that's the center, is like the unconditional love. And then out of that ring, who are the people that make you feel pretty centered, more centered, and a little bit centered. And you can just take a piece of paper, people that make me feel centered, and start making a list of people. And then you'll realize how many people are actually in your life or around your life or have been in your life in the past that make you feel anything but centered. How many people do you interact with on a regular basis that make you feel a way that doesn't feel good to you, that feels, I like to say there's like a line in the sand, the good versus bad in terms of my feelings. And these are good feelings. I want as many of those as I can have. And there's that line where it's like neutral. And then below that, anything below that feels tweaky and off and icky or heavy or negative to me, those are below my line. And I've got this line where I am and where I want to be and want to feel. And I pay attention now to what makes me feel no and what makes me feel yes. What makes me feel heavier, which means it's not for me. Might be for everybody else on the planet, but it is not for me. And then what feels good to me. And it's different for each and every one of us, but we all have this internal guidance system inside of us. And I think Esther and Jerry Hicks and the Teachings of Abraham called it the emotional guidance system. I call it IGS. They call it an EGS. But it's inside each and every one of us. We all have it. We do a really good job as humans ignoring it and not listening to it and let everything outside of us control and influence and impact us. But the truth is, all of that is lies, or it's true for the people that are telling it to us, but what's true for them might not be true for us. And the only thing that matters is what is true for us, what makes us feel the way we want to feel. All right, rampage over. Obviously a little wound up today. So, what are you working on? What can I help you with? I am actually refocusing and started to ask myself a whole series of questions as part of the Get Up and Go challenge in terms of me and my personal development, what I want to provide, how I want to show up in the world. And so I am going to work on that today. I hung out with my granddaughter yesterday. So today I'm going to focus on that and some business things that I'm doing and what I want to do to morph and change that to a more valuable, focused effort to create more value in the world instead of just being, I'm definitely a jack of all trades, shotgun approach kind of person when it comes to overall showing up online. But the truth is, in my life, I'm actually really structured and thought out, and I have tools and things that I use for each area and aspect of growing my own business. So why wouldn't I not, why am I not presenting those in a way? And I did it in the Supersize Your Business private group. There's a whole framework of how to build your business, and there's actually a scavenger hunt as part of that you do this scavenger hunt that goes through each of the main and major components of your business and how you build your business and how you grow and scale your business. And I did that, I did that a couple of years ago. It's still online. It's still there. But it's just a tool that I went through and created that provides a framework of how you can do all this, whether you're offline or online. It works for both. And since I was coming from the offline world when I first came online, I still have very much my offline hat when it comes to business and life and the world. And the internet stuff is newer to me, but it's fun to incorporate and merge the two and see how powerful together they can absolutely positively be. So if you have any questions, need help with anything, if you have a burning question that you just don't know who to ask or how to get help with it, please ask, because I was that person that was trying to figure everything out on my own initially, and it was kind of lonely and kind of scary. Now, I've never been a lonely person, but it was kind of frustrating. I guess I would go to frustration before I ever went to lonely. It was kind of frustrating to think I didn't have anyone to ask. Well, you can always Google. You can always ask Quora, or they used to have, Yahoo questions and all different question sites. But you can just type into a browser, whatever browser you use, Bing, Yahoo, maybe it's Yahoo, Bing. I don't even know what they all are now, but the different browsers, Google, DuckDuckGo, there's all kinds of them. Probably 1,000 different browsers, but most of us fall prey to the land of Google and not fall prey to. I meant to say that. I was thinking that was a slip, but no, I really meant to say that. And we use Google, but I've actually been using a couple of other search engines, because what I found is Google serves up some things that they want me to see, but if I go to a different server, and ask the same search and question, I get different information. And when I realized that for something as simple as my idioms, my daily idiom, I realized that I want to be looking at more than one source. I don't ever want to think Google has all the answers for me or any other one has all the answers for me. I always want to be thinking for myself and getting as much information as I possibly can. That's up to each and every one of us. We don't have to think for ourselves. We can just, let go of responsibility for thinking and deciding and choosing, but then we're also letting go of our freedom and our ability to create the life that we want. And I'm never letting go of that. All right. Awesome day. Have one. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. I get granddaughter number 2 time today. So I get both probably. So I'm excited about that. Have an amazing day. And I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow to let you know what she's doing, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, as I am growing and supersizing my online business after leaving the offline world of 47 years. All right. Have a great day.